A while back, I asked you guys, my fellow viewers, to ask me questions regarding the Kodak Zi8, which I'm recording with right now. And as promised, probably like a month later than I wanted to do this, I've just been busy with things, I am here to answer those questions. I received 42 comments on my blog post. By the way, these questions were asked on thecreative1.tv, so if you want to check out the social blog, we have content there on a daily basis, which is awesome. And my viewers slash readers posted all these questions on there. So there are 42 comments, but I'm unfortunately short on time, so I'm going to try to get through like 10 of the most important ones. So hopefully this will give you a better idea of what the Zi8 is capable of and whether it's worth it. And in my opinion, it's definitely worth the price point and all that good stuff. So without further ado, enjoy. The first question comes from YouTube user iTalkTech. He asks, without purchasing a separate microphone, how would you rate the audio quality? Thanks, David. Thank you, Brandon. That's his name. For those of you not aware, the Kodak Zi8 does support external mics. Unfortunately, the onboard mic is not that great. I'm using it right now, so that should give you a good idea of how it sounds. But honestly, it's not bad enough that it would be a deal breaker to me. The fact that it even supports external mics, in my opinion, is an awesome feature, and I do see myself investing in one eventually. But for now, the onboard mic is good enough to get me by. Troy Parker asks, is it comfortable in your hand? It's very comfortable in my hand. A lot of my viewers slash friends have said the Zi8 looks like a BlackBerry, and I have to totally agree with you. It does look like a phone, and it's actually about the height of an iPhone. So if you own an iPhone or iPod Touch, hold that in your hand, put it in your pocket. That's pretty much how it's going to feel. It's very smooth around the surfaces. It's got a very smooth surface, nice curves around the edges. It's pretty much like a phone. So that should give you a pretty good idea of what it feels like. Sully Dude, aka Sully, sup Sully, he asks, do you find the lack of a rotating monitor awkward for your style of videos? The Kodak has great quality, but it seems it would hinder your style of turning the camera on yourself with others in the frame. Absolutely. This is my biggest drawback about this camera, is that I cannot see myself while recording. That's just how it is. It's a handheld camcorder. Yes, there are others in the similar price range that that have an onboard viewing monitor. However, it's not a drawback enough that I would not buy this camera because the quality is amazing. Video quality is great. It has a lot of features. But yes, I have to be honest, my biggest letdown with the Zi8 is the lack of a monitor. Mark Pro 84 asks, hi David, what is the battery life like on the Kodak, and do you feel the screen is big enough? First of all, the screen is definitely big enough. The screen is bigger, as far as I can tell, than the Flip Minnow and Flip Ultra HD models. Is the battery life good? The battery life's okay. You'll probably get like an hour of HD footage capturing, which isn't that great, but the battery can come out, so you can put a spare battery in there if you want to just plug in and go and keep on recording. iBenTV3 asks on YouTube, how does the HDMI port on it perform? Yes, for those of you not aware, the Zi8 does have HDMI out on it, which is awesome, which means you can which means you can output your 720p and 1080p footage on a true HD TV, which is incredible. Unfortunately, my HD TV is an older one, and it only supports DVI, so I have not had the luxury of using this feature yet. But honestly, I don't see why it wouldn't look amazing. It's HD footage, it's HDMI output, so it's pretty safe to say the quality would be awesome. Ryan asks, how much footage can fit on a standard 4GB SD card at full 1080p? For those of you not aware, the Zi8 does record in 720p 30 frames per second, 720p 60 frames per second, and 1080p 30 frames per second. But it's kind of hard to tell you, Ryan, at this point, how much footage I can fit on a 4GB card, because I have a 16GB SDHC Class 6 SD card by the company Transcend, and with 16GB, I can fit just over 2 hours of 1080p footage. So you gotta kind of do the math. You gotta divide 16 by 4 and go from there. But if it was my choice, I would just go with the 16GB card. It costs about $50 at Newegg, which isn't too bad considering how much footage you can fit on a card that tiny. Also, I should mention that since the Zi8 captures in HD, you're going to need a faster card. So I say you should go with the Class 6 card. It's working perfectly fine with the Zi8, and that's what I use, and it's been perfect. Aaron asks, how would you rate the video and audio quality? Video quality is amazing. 720p looks awesome. 1080p I really don't use yet because I really don't have any use for it right now. But 720p looks amazing. And audio quality is alright. Kyle Ankney, my good friend Kyle. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I've always had trouble with that. Also known as KWA22122 on YouTube. Check him out. He asks, well, he says, my question is the camera recognizes as a webcam when you plug it into your computer. I could use it as a high-def webcam. This is a very good question. Unfortunately, no, there is no live feed feature, so I cannot Ustream with this. I cannot see myself on my monitor while filming, well, recording, not filming. So that's another big drawback, unfortunately. Is it a deal breaker? No, but it's one of those features I really wish they would add. And who knows, maybe Kodak can add it in a future firmware upgrade, so we'll see. Devin Murner asks, does the Zi8 have the wobble effect? Is it fine for moving shots? The Zi8 does have EIS built in, which stands for Electronic Image Stabilization. It's kind of like optical image stabilization, but electronic. It's not a true optical sensor. So, but it does a really good job. So if you're using a Zi8 on the go while walking, I do recommend using EIS, having that on, because it does make a big difference. Is it perfect? Definitely not, but at least it's there. Because as far as I know, the Flip Minnow and the Flip Ultra HD do not have image stabilization. So the Zi8 has a big plus over the Flip Minnow in that regard. Tom Laird, also known as YouTube user Straw Hat Luffy UK, how would you rate the user interface? Is it easy to use, or does it require reading the instructions first? In my experience, the user interface is very easy to use. The icons are nice and big. It's easy to navigate with the knob on the back. And I don't think I had to refer to the instructions except to see what all the ports were for. But in terms of using the camera, no, it's very simple to use, very easy to jump into. Sarah asks a very good question. When you use the Kodak Zi8, do you need a specific Kodak SD card? Because I've seen those before, or can you use a regular SD card? You do not need a Kodak brand. I'm using the Transcend as mentioned before. But don't forget, you need, well, as far as I can tell, a Class 6 card works best with this card because you're capturing HD footage. You need a faster card to handle all the data being written to the card. Now, keep in mind, I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to SD cards. I don't know specifically how all the different classes work. But just know a Class 6 card should work for you just fine. She also asks, by the way, where can we buy a tripod for the Kodak Zi8? Another very good question. I'm using a mini tripod that was free with my hard case that I got from Amazon. A little cloth in there, my macro lens in here too. Actually, if you're wondering, the case I have, it looks like this. Has a little pouch up there for holding accessories. And it's hard case, which means if you walk in this thing, you're not gonna break. Although, why would you walk on it? Anyway, it's a hard case, that's the point. Actually, the point of this question is, yes, it came with free tripod. It's not the best tripod, it's free though. What do you expect? But I don't have any specific models in mind, so I guess the best you can do is just Google it, and I'm sure you'll come across some nice miniature tripods. Seth T asks, is it pocketable? Yes, it fits in my pocket just fine. As mentioned, it's about the size of an iPhone or iPod Touch. And does it take still shots? Yes, it takes still shots. And they actually look really good for an HD camcorder, because usually still shots is like a side feature. And yes, this is still a bonus side feature. You're not taking this thing around, taking like pro shots. But it is definitely good enough to get that quick shot of, like, I don't know, kids, a flower, whatever you're taking pictures of. So it's good enough. Christopher, also known as YouTube user Chris Mac Guy, says, hey David, how well does the Zi8 display with iMovie, more specifically the older version of iMovie HD06? Very good question. The Zi8 records in .mov format, which is the native QuickTime format. So if you're using Apple software, also known as iMovie HD 2006, iMovie 2008 or 2009, or Final Cut Express or Final Cut Pro, or any of that awesome Apple software, then yes, the Zi8 most likely does work with this since it uses Apple's file format, QuickTime. And that is that. I tried to keep this video short. I tried to focus on the most important questions. I apologize if I did not get to your question because I received a lot of them, but I'm trying to keep this video short. And honestly, this is my third or fourth take doing this video. I have been talking way too much today, so I'm just going to end this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do have any more questions, post them in the comments section below this video, and I'll try my best to respond as fast as possible. And any important links regarding the Zi8, I'll put in the sidebar to the right of this video. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out my social links in the sidebar for Twitter, Facebook, social blog, forum bites, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.